Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Council, we started this process actually a couple of years ago, and we've given updates to the council about, restoring buffalo through our Aboriginal territory, especially in Montana. And there was an initiative led by the National Wildlife Federation and the University of Montana Indian Law Clinic to come up with some proposals. We gave council updates on that and came up with a draft plan to proposal that could look at the Charles M. Russell Refuge in central Montana as a spot where buffalo could be restored. That proposal, as an example, was endorsed by the Tribal Leaders Council and others, and we kind of described that process to the Tribal Council here. One of the outcomes of that was to hold a conference, a short conference in Montana to talk about that particular issue, especially since the state of Montana wasn't interested in restoring buffalo in the next decade on public lands. That is there an opportunity for tribal leadership to do that on federal lands in partnership with the federal government or the agency that the land that the buffalo could be restored upon was supportive. So that led to a potential conference that got canceled because of COVID. And it was scheduled for next week. Also next week, there happens to be the the Native American Fish and Wildlife Service National Conference. It's being held in Spokane. And as an alternative to keep the topic and the dialogue going, and Chairwoman Fyatt and myself have been participating periodically for the last few months on this topic. We were hoping to keep a panel discussion alive that is on the agenda for next week, next Thursday morning at 8:30 in the morning for the society to participate. And the panel would be assisted by our tribes, myself and Steph Gillen, and then others. And so it'd be that topic. We'd have Martha Williams from the Interior Department Fish and Wildlife Service give an intro, and other participants from the Fish and Wildlife Service and tribal potential partners or leaders that might be interested in this topic. So we want to keep the discussion alive. I just wanted to make council aware of that. And that would be occurring next Thursday morning at 8:30. And we'll send out the Zoom link to the Tribal Council also.
Thanks for that update, Tom. I still haven't heard from Tom France if that's going to be two separate panels with Buffalo managers and then tribal leaders. Do you know? Madam Chair, it's just one panel at this point in time, the time frame they gave us. So it would be a simple introduction by Tom and Keith, I believe, maybe Monty Mills, and then jump right into the panel. There'll be presentations, of course, then by the introduction by Martha Williams, and then we would go into the panel. But we wanted to keep alive and then follow up next spring, next summer with an actual conference, hopefully like we were planning over in Lewiston or near the APR or the CMR refuge in central Montana. Okay. We'll watch for the Zoom link. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, have a good day. Next up, we have Dale Nelson. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. And good morning, everybody, Madam Chair and Council. Thank you for having me back. I've got 2 months to cover. Missed out on last month, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. So again, each month I do continue relationships with the local and tribal, state, and national committees. So in this past month, the month of August, we had that fire up there, Blue Bay area, the Boulder fire, and helped out quite a bit with that, with tribal health. They had a family that was quarantined, and of course at that time there was no power in that, so I had to deliver some water to them and had to go a long way around because the highway was closed at that time, but helped out as much as I could with them. Also, during that time, Red Cross was notified about needing to set up a shelter. And this was the first time that we had actually set up a shelter and had people in the shelter. And talking to Steve Stanley, the old county OEM, he says, yeah, that's the first time he can remember we ever had to set up a shelter. And it worked out very well. The notification was made to Red Cross. They had their people together. They contacted the local school there in Polson to find out where they would be best to set up that shelter. And they decided to use the Linderman School. And it was nice because brand new gymnasium, and it was a nice way to show off that gymnasium. Things worked out very good. So as we move on, again, every month I have those things. We have the Tribal Safety and Health Committee. I work with, of course, Montana State DES. We have coordinators meeting every month too. And then, so Fish and Wildlife and Parks, I do a Teams meeting as often as they put it out. This last month, they stopped the 50th boat that was infested with invasive species, and that was boat was being transferred from Lake Erie, and it was to Kalispell. And it still surprises me that we're still catching boats here in the state, and they've come across quite a few states, and why they haven't located those boats in those other states. But I'm happy that we're able to find those boats and get those boats so that they're not infesting our waters. So moving on, I was asked to do a emergency planning discussion with early childhood development teachers, and I did that, plus did a fire extinguisher training for them also. It's nice that they call on me to do that. Last month, there was 2 water-related vehicle crashes. One off of the lower Flathead River out of Moise Valley Road. No spill response was needed on that one. Some people just got carried away with their vehicle and drove it into the river. So we had to get that pulled out. Then the next one was a vehicle on Claremont Road that slid off. There's a little bit of water in that ditch, and it actually has a stream flowing through there. But as it was, we didn't have to do any spill response on that too. Those vehicles were pulled out of the waters. Last month also responded to 2 boat accidents on Flathead Lake. One was capsized near Bird Islands and was towed all the way to Blue Bay. And the people in Blue Bay, they actually had equipment there where they're able to drag that boat out of the water. It was upside down. And there was no appearance of any spill at the time that I showed up to that. And they went ahead and took care of that boat. Then there was a boat that hit some rocks near Bull Islands, and the boat was starting to sink pretty good, and they were able to beach the boat there off of Kings Point. And with the help of Dragon Wagon, they have a boat response team that were able to get there and remove the boat out of the water too. So it's nice that that we do have that capability and that resource. So that pretty much takes care of last month, real briefly. This month, I'm working with tribal health and public health. We're setting up a, well, actually, first of all, we had an after action report. In fact, it was a midway because we're still in our COVID problems here. And so there was a midway after action report to find out how we're doing and what we need to do to change. And things are working out pretty good between tribal health and public health as far as taking care of that. Of course, now lately in the past week, we went up over 300 people. So, and it's not good. It's not good at all. And hopefully those people will still take this at heed and go get their vaccination. So Also, we're setting up this next month on the 6th. We're going to have a drive-up clinic, and I'm helping out with the planning and the setup of that. And that would be again at the parking lot there at the college. So that'll be on the 6th. They'll also have available COVID shots there too. If it's a regular flu vaccine clinic, but they're going to have COVID shots available too for those who want that. Then this month, September, I did have to respond to a sunken boat. It was in the Polson Tribal Marina. These people had some problems with this boat, I understand, for about a week. That it kept sinking on them. They couldn't figure it out. Plug was in it. So with the help of Patuxent Marina people and the county OEM and Dragon Wagon response team again, boat response team, and the sheriff's department, we were able to get that boat up, floating out of the water and pulled out of the water, and Dragon Wagon pulled it away. So there was a little bit of spill. There was a sheen there, and that sheen was reported to the EPA too, as they're required, because the Flathead Lake is navigable waters. And so we have to, it wasn't that big of a sheen, but it was enough to where it needed to be reported. So with the help of Quatucknuck personnel, we were able to get some of that gathered up and taken care of. So, and then it's yearly, the two big large dams, our dam here and Hungry Horse Dam, we go through emergency action plan update. And this was a phone notification drill that I'm involved in. Anytime something happens with Hungry Horse, of course, they notify all the local Office of Emergency Management, which includes me. So that was successful, that phone notification drill. Last but not least, after 17 years of use and 227,000 miles on the DES vehicle, it will come up lame. So we're going to have to work on getting a new vehicle for disaster emergency services. And we started doing that yesterday. Tony made a notification out to look at the possibility of a GSA type vehicle. Hopefully we can get one fitted so it's a good response vehicle for me, and that'll last for quite a while. So if any questions, I am available for that. That's pretty much it for the report.
Thank you, Dale.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Les.
Yes.
Thank you. Dale, let's see, how can I articulate this question? Dale, do you work with the tribal maintenance staff on making sure that all offices are being cleaned and sanitized after it is reported if an employee is tested positive?
Okay, that's with our tribal health and safety department. That would be Brian. He does that follow-up.
But you're not involved in that.
No, unless I'm asked to be part of that for any reason at all. But that's Brian Conley, Brian Crawford's department. Yes.
Okay, I just didn't know. That's why I was asking. So
Yeah, that's fine.
thanks, Dale.
Yeah, when what was it? When Fred was in office, he grabbed me to help him out on a lot of those things. But Brian, he's a pretty sharp guy, and he pretty much takes care of that.
Anita? Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question. If you get, Dale, if you get the emails that we get from the USDA, the APHIS department?
I don't believe so. Most of my federal type stuff is through FEMA.
Okay, the reason I was asking is I'm pretty sure that if there was ever a disease outbreak in animals, you'd have to have a plan.
Yes, that is included in our EOP.
Okay, I think what I'm gonna start doing is just forwarding what I get from Terry Clark to you.
That'd be great.
Yeah, the last one was on trichinosis, you know, that's a disease with your bulls. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it can shut down, you know, county for county if it ever broke out, but it's voluntary right now. But I'll ship that to you, Dale, next time I get one.
That sounds like good information. Yeah, the only thing I can think of that happened, and not during my time here, but when Jolene Jacobson was in this position, they had a breakout with cows that had some kind of a disease on their nose and mouth area. And I don't know if it was a foot and mouth type thing or what it was, but it was isolated right away, and it only was infecting a few of the cows, and that was here in our area. That's probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was gonna say Jolene, just take care of that, but I'll start routing that to you. Thank you.
That'd be good. Thank you.
Okay, or go ahead, Martin.
Dale, do you have any N95 masks that I could get from you? I'm getting lots of requests for them.
I've got maybe 50 masks that I've been kind of hold on in case we need it for a big emergency, but I've been directing everybody to go to Property and Supply. Kermit says he's got a lot of supplies there. But I've handed out enough since the time that I got masks. I had 3 pallets full of masks, and I figured with all those masks and what I gave out, everybody in the area, Reservation County, should have at least 6 masks.
Thanks, Dale.
You
I
bet.
wanted to give kudos to our water protectors. You know, they take their job to heart, and yeah, I too am shocked that we've had our 50th boat come through with
Yeah,
infected with mussels. So
yeah, that was up on Fort Belknap too. Those guys up there caught it.
The other thing I wanted to say is, so your new vehicle, maybe you could look at an electric vehicle, and that would be the impetus for us to get charging stations here.
Wouldn't that be something? As long as it's fitted for, emergency response. I need, of course, the lights and the radio, and it should have the reflective graphics on the side too. So that, because on highway.
And then the last thing I
Yeah.
want to say was earlier, we had a discussion with Tom McDonald about Bison Range staff training needs. So maybe you and Brian Crawford could reach out to Tom McDonald. He was talking about specifically safety trainings and vehicle certifications. So
Yeah, probably since all tribal facilities have emergency action plan, we probably should set up one for that facility there too.
okay, thank you for your report. All right, thank you, Dale.
Thank you very much. I'll see you at the end of next month.
Okay. Len, did you want to bring up your issue?
Yes, thank you, Shelley, and members of the council. I just wanted to discuss with council about our dilemma with COVID. I'm sure many of you have been receiving calls from the membership regarding our policy about the 80-hour leave that we have given people if they are forced to go into quarantine. Most people's situation is different. However, many are similar requests, but I really want us to start looking at making sure that none of our employees are going leave without pay. And as I mentioned before, we probably need to look at every case or looking at it on a case-by-case basis to make sure that everybody that gets covered. It's just a really, it's putting a lot of stress on our employees because they're unsure. They're thinking that after their 80 hours, they don't know what they're going to do. But I just want to give the employees some security that we are going to be looking at everybody's situation and assure that nobody's going to leave without pay. So I just wanted to throw that out there and have the council start thinking about how we can address this. The other issue I wanted to discuss was, and I know we brought this up about a month ago, was our frontline and essential workers. I'm not sure where we're at with that. Maybe there has been a discussion with Rick and he has given an update, but I was not there. But I just wanted to make sure that we're still on track with that. And because I'm getting a lot of calls from employees wondering where we're at, and I don't have an answer for them. So I just maybe we can ask Rick to give us an update on that, on where we're at. And so let's see, Martin just asked me a question. Am I requesting? Well, I guess what I'm requesting is a report or an update from our executive staff on where we're at with that, and getting us an update. My last issue that I wanted to bring up was the rising numbers of COVID. Many of you probably seen or been contacted, but we are getting new cases every day, especially employee cases. So I would really want us to start looking at starting to maybe start doing teleworking again. And before we start looking at doing a shutdown. I support a shutdown right now because we're not, I believe it just appears that we're losing control of the cases here. I mean, they're just rising faster than we really thought they were, rising from they were last year. And I just don't want it to appear that we're just sitting idle and doing nothing. And so I would really like us to put a plan in place here and either temporarily shut down our tribal facilities and do another thorough cleaning and sanitizing of them for a period of time, and then identify those employees that we can do some teleworking with. So anyway, just wanted to bring that up and have everybody thinking on it, because here we are again, getting close to, we're right in the middle of a drastic pandemic, and it's just a sad thing to see that we're hearing of deaths every other day. So anyway, thank you for giving me a few minutes to address that, and just want you to all be thinking on that, and hopefully we can have a discussion on it sooner than later. So
Thank you, Len. Let's see. Looks like Carol's offline. I'm listening, so Carol, are you still on?
So yesterday at the department head meeting, Rick did address some of these issues. He is encouraging staff, or supervisors to work with staff on, the things that you're talking about, Lynn, like as far as mobile teleworking, adjusted hours. The crazy thing is we already have all these things in place and people are just kind of not adhering to them. And it's unfortunate that they're not. And honestly, I don't know, I've been struggling with this too, is like, do we shut down or, we shut down with, what do we have, like 5 cases last time? Or I don't think we had that many. But the problem with that, even with our shelter in place, is we had tribal members, we had employees that took it as a vacation. And unfortunately, those people pretty much ruined it for everyone else. The people that weren't sheltering in place, the people that weren't adhering to what we were saying. And ultimately, I don't know. I don't know that that's the answer. Honestly, I think that being in a controlled environment, like at work for 8 hours of a day, actually prevents the spread. I think that we're doing mitigation things here, or we should be doing the mitigation things here to prevent the spread within our buildings. And I don't know many cases that have been contracted at work. It's the people that are going out to these events, going out to socialize or whatever they're doing and not practicing safe masking and those type of things. That's where our spread's coming from. And so really, like we said all along, let's make work the safest place you could possibly be. Let's encourage people to stay home if they're sick and work with them so they don't go into leave without pay. I had this conversation with Rick and basically, I don't know, I can't remember if it was a private conversation or if it was here, but we shouldn't have people going to leave without pay if it's COVID related. Or if they're required to stay home for an isolation period or whatever. And so, yeah, I know that this discussion needs to be had and we need to do it, but I think the things we really need to focus on right now are some sort of a masking mandate and definitely an employee vaccination mandate. We had, look at your guys' email during lunch. The legality of it, the being challenged in court, that I'm sure that will happen, but I feel like we have the lawyers that could defend that. And again, like I said earlier, if you want to take a vaccine and we mandate that, if we do, you have the choice of not working for us anymore. And it's sad that it's going to have to come to that with some people, but that's the reality. It may be saving your own life, us forcing people to get vaccines. I don't know. I'm ready for that. I don't care if that is something that people don't like and people don't like hearing, but frankly, I don't really, I'll stand for something, that people's lives depend on. I'll definitely stand on that. So thank you.
The schedule of meetings with the school boards and county commissioners. It looked like we were getting separate emails.
It was.
But if we could get all of that in place and put on our team's calendar so that we could
Okay.
not have to sift through emails.
Okay, I've only heard from 3 schools. I've gotten a couple people who's called me in regard to the mandate, but I've only heard from the 3 schools. And that was Ronan and Arlie and what was he? Charlotte. But I will have that put on as quickly as I hear anything else. I'll get it out there too. And I think I sent everybody a copy of Rob's article that he was going to have us pack with us when we visit with him. I did that this morning. We'll continue to work on it. Amazingly, I got a call yesterday and an individual from Arlee told me it was 2 tribal employees that shot the request right out the door the first time with Arlee schools. He didn't mention no names, just that it was 2 tribal employees that fought the mask mandate.
School board members.
So I went through Anita's email. Polson was also the other one that responded, it looked like. And I have the dates and times for all of them. There's a conflict on the 11th. Polson meets at 5:30 and Roman meets at 7. So it's possible to maybe run from one to the other, but I can send that list out if it's, do you want me to put it as full council for each of those on the calendar?
Thank you, Ellie.
One for the council for one to the other.
And we could add all these issues onto the chairs meeting Monday for further discussion and solutions. Okay, with that, we have our afternoon session at 1 o'clock.